Update. Am I the a-hole for not going to the wedding of my dad and his affair partner? Original post. When I was 17, my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. 2 years later, she passed away. During these 2 years, my dad was not around much. He was always working and going on business trips. My aunts and grandma took care of mom. About 5 months after my mother's passing, my dad introduced me to his new girlfriend. I was pissed. I yelled at him how quickly he moved on from mom when they decided to tell me that they had been in a relationship for 3 years. My dad had been cheating on my mom while she was dying. His business trips were to meet his affair partner. I was so angry I packed my stuff and left his house. I haven't spoken to him since that day. Currently, I'm 25. The only family I speak to is an aunt who helped me when I left my dad's house. A few days ago, my aunt called me, asked me how I was, and then asked me if I heard from dad. I said, why would I hear from him again? My aunt said dad is getting married to his affair partner, and by going to his wedding, it would help us mend our relationship. I said, why would I do that? He's dead to me. There was a silence on the phone for a bit before my dad replied asking if that was what I felt about him. I immediately cut the call when I heard his voice. I realized he was with my aunt when she made a call to me. I texted my aunt telling her I asked her not to tell dad anything about me, and she agreed back then. She texted me back saying I was an a-hole for saying what I said, and my dad is crushed hearing that, and that I should move on by now. I did not want to argue with someone who helped me, so I blocked her. Over the next 2 days, I got sent a wedding invitation to my mailbox. The only person in the family who knew my address was my aunt, and she gave my number to various members of the family. I am being bombarded with calls and texts from dad, uncles, cousins, and saying I should give him a chance and come to the wedding. Some calling me names for saying what I said. I then got a text from the affair partner saying my dad is thinking of postponing the wedding, and I should just talk to him. For context, the affair partner was a friend of my mom, and knew she had cancer. I said it's not my fault if he postpones the wedding. I don't want to have a relationship with dad or her. They're trying to force it. I got quiet after that, but being told by so many people from my dad's side I'm an a-hole did leave me conflicted, but I'm sticking to my guns. So am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. Your dad cheated on your mom while she was dying, and now the whole family is upset you've calmly expressed how you feel about it by A, cutting your dad out, and B, not attending the wedding. Your aunt also violated your trust by giving your contact information out without your consent. I'd say cut the whole family out at this point. That certainly would be the mature response. It is much kinder than going to the wedding, and when they ask if anyone objects, calmly explain why you object to their behavior. OP, there is no statute of limitations on feelings. You are allowed to decide how you feel for as long as you want to feel that way. The objection thing hasn't been in any wedding I've been to in the last 50 years. Never ask a question you don't want the answer to. Not the a-hole. Tell your father you are treating him like you treated your dying mother. Block everyone who tries to tell you how to feel. Move on and don't look back. Honestly, what he did is 1,000 times worse than what OP's doing. Not only lying and cheating, but essentially abandoning his dying wife while doing so. People are allowed to make their decisions in life, but they also must accept the natural consequences of those decisions. OP doesn't owe him any more than he seemed to think he owed their mom. I also have cancer, treatable not curable. The support and love I get from my husband is what keeps me going and helps me live each day with gratitude. To think that she didn't have this while dying makes me so sad. At least she didn't know about the affair. Hopefully anyway. Not the a-hole. Block all of them, including your aunt. Change your number. If you can move without telling anyone, do it. Because they're going to show up in person to confront you next. Get some security cameras in case someone tries to go nuts, like trying to force their way into your home. They're all horrible people. Your dad and his affair partner are the worst. Both were close to your mom and did this to her. Ask affair partner what she would do if she got cancer and it did the same to her. Actually, don't bother. Don't engage any of them. Don't feel guilty. You're doing the right thing. Stand up for yourself. Everyone here supports you. Thank you. I'm in the process of changing my number and updating contacts. As for where I live, it's a pretty secure apartment. You can only come in after me or someone buzz you in, then you have to write down your name with the security, and the elevator works with a key fob only. I'm hoping that I don't have to move, but keeping my options open if it escalates. Mini update. I sent a text all 39 numbers that called or text me detailing what dad did, and blocked all of them. I don't care for their responses. Now for the full update. First, I want to thank all who commented on the first post and all who messaged me. It really helped me stick with my decision to not go to the wedding. I wanted to update earlier, but it's been pretty hectic with work. So, After the many texts and calls from multiple family members, I sent a text to all the numbers detailing what Dad did and why I choose to be no contact with him, and then blocked all the numbers. I have changed my number but kept the old number in a separate phone to collect evidence if they start to harass me from random numbers. But luckily, nothing happened, and I thought that was that. A week or so after that, my aunt's fiancé came to my apartment. He knows what time I get off work and was waiting for me in the parking lot. I was apprehensive, but he assured me he only wanted to talk. And according to him, the text I sent has caused a crap storm in that family. He told me that some of the cousins who did not know what happened in the past started to question Dad and affair partner, and they started to get defensive and deny it. But someone revealed that it was true. This has caused a massive argument within the family, with some cousins pulling out of the wedding. Dad wanted to postpone the wedding so he can talk to me, but the affair partner threatened to leave him if he did that. The news of what Dad and affair partner did also reached some of their friends, who were at some point friends of my mom as well. Some of them has also pulled out of the wedding, and this caused the affair partner to have a breakdown and started banning anyone who brings it up, family members included, from the wedding. According to Anne's fiancé, she's blaming this all on me, says I did this intentionally. I laughed at that. The wedding is still somehow happening. I asked him about my aunt and how all that started, and he said all he knows is that there was a conversation of how bad a family would look if I wasn't at the wedding and that my aunt offered to call me. He said that he disagreed, but she did it anyway. He said that he is only here because he felt I needed to know what happened. I thanked him, but said I will be going completely no contact with her, and by extension, him as well. He agreed, wished me well, and left. I'm not going to lie and say I'm completely okay. I miss my aunt. I miss my mom. But I know what I did was the right thing. I'm currently staying with my girlfriend, and she has been cheering me up by coming up with absurd ways to ruin the wedding. As a lot of you said, I should try therapy, and I'm going to take that advice. Some of the comments has made me realize that I have bottled up a lot of grief and anger. I am super nervous about it, but I also feel it'll do me good. So once again, thank you for all your comments and advice. Ciao. Not the a-hole. She has been cheering me up by coming up with absurd ways to ruin the wedding. I can't think of anything that has been more effective than your going public in the way that you did. Eventually, things will calm down. You might consider reaching out to the family once they knew what had happened, defended your choice of not going to the wedding. They're the ones who sought out the truth and remained loyal to you. Honestly, I want to know what some of these ideas are. One last nail in the coffin would be nice. Here's an idea. Opie could show up to the wedding and object to it. Houston has the details of the affair to make the case. It'd be perfect. Hopefully they're just having fun making up fantasy scenarios. Opie should be a million miles from that wedding and just let it ruin itself. LMFAO. It is ironic how she blames this on you. Lol, honey, if you don't want people to find out, you shouldn't have had an affair with a married man. It is as simple as that. But people like her is just dumb and delusional. I hope you have a nice life with your girlfriend. Right? All Opie did was tell the truth. If a description of your actions makes you look bad, that's on you. Families always hate the truth teller. Bad families hate the truth teller. Not the a-hole. They literally fooled around and found out. Your aunt put you in a no-win situation, and that's on her, not you. Of course, you're not completely okay. Your family seem like they're all a-holes. I'm so pleased you have a great supportive girlfriend and that you are seeking therapy. You will get through this, and then you hold your head high and live your best life. Last story. Update. Because I refused to spend Christmas with my in-laws, they have now ghosted my husband. Original post. We have 2 children, female 5 and male 6, and my sister-in-law, husband's sister, has 2 children, male 10 and male 9. And every time we visit, they hurt my children in one way or another, both physical and emotional bullying. This time, I told my husband that I didn't want to spend Christmas with his family. He got upset because he didn't want to lose his family. He is close to his mom and sister since they lost their father when my husband was 10. Also, my mother-in-law favors sister-in-law's children, and they get more and more expensive gifts. As long as my children were small, I didn't care. Now they notice when they're piled from grannies much, much smaller than their cousins. He says if we start not attending big holidays, etc., this will put a wedge. But I don't care. I don't want my babies to associate holidays with negative feelings and being hurt. I don't even want to compromise, negotiate, nor meet them halfway. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. He got upset because he didn't want to lose his family. Then what has he done to try to prevent his children being bullied? Discussions with his loser sister and loser mother about why the children are bullies. Admirable that he cares. I applaud him for trying to help his nephews, but not by using my children as guinea pigs. Ask your husband exactly which family he is willing to lose, because you and your kids are not going to play the doormat game. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. The gift imbalance is one thing. Being bullied is another. I never cared about the gifts because his mother never liked me. But I noticed last Christmas that my son was sad. I don't want my children to be sad for any reason. The gift difference is like 20 to 200. That's a huge difference. Good on you for stopping this. Kids will notice. Can't figure how grandparents think this is appropriate behavior. Hurting their own innocent grandchildren. I asked once if they couldn't just try to exchange gifts before we arrived, and then only have one gift for each child in front of my children, so they don't notice the favoritism. But my loser mother-in-law started yelling and calling me gold digger. Nobody involved has gold to dig. We are all hardworking people. Can you take the kids to your family? Let him deal with them. Protect your kids, and mother-in-law is a witch doesn't deserve to see your kids. I don't have any family, unfortunately. I was disowned by them because I chose a man outside of my ethnicity and faith, so I can't count on any support there. I feel like part of what's going on is that your in-laws are bullying your kids for being mixed. Oh well, can't say nothing, or I would be accused of using the race card. Not the a-hole. I wouldn't go. I'd take my children to the zoo before seeing other people again. Tell your husband that he is welcome to go by himself. You'll see him when he gets home. Those boys are going to get worse as they grow up. Save your children from them. He literally said maybe I could go by myself. It's 8-hour drive. Let him go. 8 hours is nothing for a drive. He can get up early and be there before dinner. He can do whatever. I can stay home with my babies and spend a calm, beautiful Christmas where they don't need to literally hug my leg and hide behind me. Now for the update. I'll just get right into it, since I have already made a post and comments about my situation. My husband chose to spend Christmas with his family. He called and told him that he was coming alone this Christmas, and I heard his mother yelling over the phone telling him that I was the devil, ruining the family traditions. Anyway, it seemed like she didn't tell him not to come. My husband said that our children are too small to understand, so he can't pretend Christmas is when he gets home on the 27th. He drove yesterday 8-hour, but when he arrived, nobody was there, so he got worried and called them a number of times, but nobody answered. He called me freaking out, so I told him to text his mom that he was going to call the police to make a wellness check. Only then the loser calling him back telling him that they had booked an apartment on a skiing resort and had gone earlier that day, and they're spending the holidays skiing. He got home early this morning and he tried to fight with me and put the blame on me because I refused to let my children celebrate with their family. I stopped him right there, telling him that I wasn't the one ghosting him, and that if he wanted any chance to have a happy family, this was his. People had shown him what they were, and the lengths they could go to hurt and humiliate others when slighted. I have had a wonderful weekend, however. The children were happily surprised by Dad's presence, and we had a Christmas lunch with my closest friend and her youngsters. Now we are making pizza, because I thought Christmas was going to be on the 27th and didn't prepare. Now I think the in-laws have come to the realization that they went too far because they have been calling and texting my husband all evening. I even heard his loser mom crying. I made it clear they were not welcome here if they think they can come and apologize to my husband for making him drive to an empty house. And I made it even clearer that I will never have them in my or my children's life. I will start my own Christmas tradition for my little family, and it will not be 2 days after. I told him that I wanted this clear so he can make his choices and how to proceed with his life and who he thinks are more important to him. I am done having losers in my life. Merry Christmas. Good for you. Make him stick to whatever choice he makes. Happy Christmas. They ghosted their own son? It's comical how your mother-in-law can hurt you, but when your hubby gets scorched, all of a sudden it's a big deal, and he'd try to blame you. It was a prick move for him to leave his family alone for the holidays, but gets his feelers butt hurt when he's left alone. Loved holiday karma. Apparently, he doesn't consider his wife and children his family. Exactly this. Opie told him to choose, and he clearly did choose her or their kids. The way he crapped on her for his family ghosting him was absolute BS. I don't think this drama's over, just postponed for another year. Your husband needs to sort out his priorities before he destroys his family. Glad you're having a good Christmas. I think that's what mother-in-law hopes will happen. That is what's going to happen. I bet money he brings the kids to his parents' house next year. The fact he hasn't apologized to Opie says that clear as day. No, I don't think so. I don't think people realize how damaging it is to a person to have such a narcissist family. This guy has been trained since birth, and undoing that is going to take therapy more than anything. It's going to take like a decade, and he probably is going to side with his mom in the end.